Dr. Ben Ferguson and liberal political commentator Ethan Bierman. Thanks to both of you for being here. I'd like to start with Rod Rosenstein because this is serious stuff, right? He's on his way to the White House. We hear from a White House official that he is set to resign. And of course, he's the guy that oversees the Mueller investigation. So talk about the possible fallout, Ben.
Look, I think Rod Rosenstein is going to be someone that can certainly tell his story and not have to worry about his job if he has resigned or is fired, the same way that James Comey was able to go out there and write this book and attack the president and show bias. If you know this, a lot of this is coming from this report that Rosenstein even talked about wearing a wire on the president. If that was true, I think it's absolutely correct for him to resign. And if whatever he wants to say afterwards, that's his choice. That's his decision. I have no problem with that. I think he should have the right to go out there and talk the same way that James Comey is, and then the people can ultimately decide if they feel that he handled things appropriately or if he was clearly biased towards the president and the Russia investigation.
Okay, I want to back up and just explain what Rod Rosenstein is accused of doing. This appeared in the New York Times.
Sure.
He's accused of wanting to wear a wire or have others wear a wire to clandestinely, record the president, and then invoking the 25th Amendment to forcibly remove the president from office. Now, Rod Rosenstein has denied this. He said he was joking.
Right.
He put out two statements saying, no, I did not say this. But today, Ethan, we hear that he's going to resign before he's fired, although there are conflicting reports out there as to what exactly is going on.
Yeah, well, this is interesting because Rod Rosenstein, in a very odd way, Ben and I partially agree on this, that, look, if you really were going to wear a wire and think we should invoke the 25th Amendment, and then you didn't follow through with it, and now it's out, maybe you should resign if you just can't serve the president and you're unable to do your job properly. However, this confirms so many other stories that we've been hearing over the last year and a half about this president, his inability to govern in a stable fashion, the fact that he is unhinged in so many ways, 4,700 plus lies so far that he tells the American people. This should be really concerning to most Americans that we have a president who even the highest level legal officials are questioning his stability and ability to lead the country.
Yeah, but I will say, Ethan, that this is the man who's overseeing the Mueller investigation. So, Ben, might not this give the president ammunition to say, look, Rod Rosenstein wanted to get rid of me. How can he oversee fairly the Mueller investigation? How is that possible?
And this goes back to what Donald Trump talked about day one, about draining the swamp. And he was willing to challenge people in power in the way that the business was done in Washington, D.C.
Let's all agree he didn't drain the swamp, Ben. He didn't drain the swamp.
Again, this is part of what he said he wanted to do with draining the swamp. When you have somebody at the FBI that is, if it's true that he actually said this, and even joking about it is absolutely insane, to imply that you want to literally overtake a free and fair a duly elected president, wear wires to get others to wear wires.
Hang on.
It shows an extreme amount of bias.
The 25th Amendment is how you do it, though, Ben. Let
me finish. All because you don't like the fact the President of the United States of America questioned you and questioned your investigation. That's why you should absolutely resign. And this is why many people that support the president think that he has a point here about there is a huge bias by many people in this government.
Ethan, is there a huge bias, or is there enough evidence to say to yourself, I think there's something there?
Well, I think the Trump-Republicans and conspiracy party of 2018 will say, well, but our president. However, you have career bureaucrats. We have an administrative state that exists. We have a government that's there to function for the American people. And when somebody comes in and acts in a manner that is unhinged, as this president has done, many career people in Washington that you're calling the swamp, which is not what the swamp is, however, they are recognizing the danger that he is presenting to not just our country, but to the whole world. And some of them are doing their job by saying, well, look, we actually have processes and procedures in place.
Here's the thing. If you're in favor of processes and procedures, then it goes back to the point I made about Rod Rosenstein implying that he wanted to wear a wire. That's not how the government works. You don't get to overthrow someone that's elected. It's not whistleblowing. Having a difference of opinion and having someone who says, I don't like the president and his actions, so therefore I want to overthrow a government because of my position of power is psycho. I mean, that's insane.
I don't think anybody's talking about overthrowing the government. No one's talking about overthrowing
when you overthrow
the
a president, that's when you overthrow a president, that's
25th
absolutely
Amendment, Ben, if
overthrowing
you
the
think he's
government.
President
incapable.
Nixon was out of there. Nobody was accused of overthrowing the government.
That's
like
completely
a coup
different
when the
because we
military
had actual
riding in
evidence.
and taken over the White House. That's not what we're talking about.
Having the 25th Amendment, invoking the 25th Amendment, and saying I don't like someone who was elected by the American people.
That is not overtaking the government. That is in our Constitution.
Carol, using the 25th Amendment because you don't like someone.
The 25th Amendment.
It's because if you determine the president is unfit to be president, as I would suggest many people are making that claim about this president, including no, it's not because you don't like him. It's because he says one thing to his advisors, he says something else to a world leader, and then he says a third thing to the press at a press conference that is unhinged and uncomfortable and bad for our country. And some will say that fits the definition of the 25th Amendment.
I have to wrap this up, but I'm sure that whatever Rod Rosenstein decides, there will be momentous consequences, which of course we will continue to follow. Ben Ferguson, Ethan Bierman, many thanks. I was just checking my email here to find out